Recent online claims and commentary have circulated under the headline that Melania Trump used presidential power in court, prompting widespread public attention and raising questions about the scope of authority held by former First Family members and the role of the judiciary in responding to such assertions. A review of court records, constitutional provisions, and public statements indicates that no verified legal proceeding has established that Melania Trump exercised presidential powers, nor that any court recognized such authority. Instead, the episode reflects how viral narratives can emerge from misunderstandings of legal roles, mischaracterized filings, or commentary surrounding unrelated court matters involving prominent public figures. Melania Trump served as First Lady of the United States from January 2017 to January 2021 during the presidency of Donald J. Trump. The position of First Lady is not an elected office and carries no constitutional or statutory executive authority. The U.S. Constitution vests presidential power exclusively in the President of the United States, with specific duties and authorities delegated to executive officers confirmed through established legal processes. Former First Ladies do not retain governmental power after leaving the White House and do not possess independent authority to direct courts, prosecutors, or judges. The claims gained traction amid heightened public interest in high-profile legal proceedings involving former President Donald Trump and other public figures. In several instances, filings and motions submitted by attorneys associated with the Trump family referenced constitutional principles, executive privilege arguments, or past actions taken during the Trump administration. Legal analysts note that references to presidential authority in such filings often pertain to actions taken by the president while in office or to arguments about executive privilege, rather than to any personal power held by family members. Misinterpretation of these references can lead to inaccurate conclusions when removed from their legal context. Judge Frank Caprio, frequently mentioned in online discussions tied to these claims, is a retired chief judge of the Providence Municipal Court in Rhode Island. He is widely known for his televised courtroom appearances and for decisions emphasizing proportionality and due process in municipal cases. Judge Caprio has not presided over federal cases involving the Trump family, nor does he hold jurisdiction over matters related to presidential authority, executive privilege, or federal constitutional disputes. Any suggestion that he issued a ruling recognizing presidential power exercised by Melania Trump is not supported by court dockets or official judicial records. In the United States judicial system, judges are bound to apply the law as written and to recognize only those authorities established by statute and the Constitution. Courts routinely dismiss claims that lack legal standing or that assert powers not recognized by law. Legal scholars emphasize that if a litigant were to claim authority derived from a former president or First Family status, a court would require a clear legal basis. Absent such a basis, judges would address the claim through standard procedural rulings, including dismissal or clarification of jurisdictional limits. Public attention intensified as commentators and social media posts framed the issue as a dramatic confrontation between perceived political power and judicial independence. However, court observers stress that judicial responses to filings are typically procedural and grounded in precedent. When judges encounter arguments invoking executive power improperly, they address them by citing constitutional boundaries, separation of powers, and relevant case law. These responses, while sometimes firm, are routine elements of judicial oversight rather than extraordinary interventions. Background context is essential to understanding how such narratives arise. Executive privilege, for example, is a doctrine that allows a sitting or former president to withhold certain communications from disclosure under specific circumstances. It is not a blanket power and does not extend to family members acting independently. Courts evaluate claims of executive privilege on a case-by-case basis, often balancing them against the needs of the judicial process. Mischaracterizing these evaluations as recognition of presidential power exercised by a non-officeholder contributes to public confusion. Similarly, the prominence of Judge Caprio in popular culture can amplify misconceptions. His reputation for clear, concise courtroom explanations has led to the assumption that he comments broadly on national legal controversies. In reality, judges, particularly retired municipal judges, do not issue rulings or opinions on cases outside their jurisdiction. Any statements attributed to Judge Caprio regarding federal authority would require verification through official transcripts or public records, none of which substantiate the claims circulating online. Legal experts interviewed in response to the controversy have reiterated that the judiciary operates independently of political influence and personal status. Courts assess arguments based on legal merit, evidence, and applicable law. The notion that a former First Lady could invoke presidential authority in court without holding office runs counter to established constitutional principles. The separation of powers doctrine, a cornerstone of the U.S. system, prevents the concentration of authority in individuals who are not constitutionally empowered to exercise it. Developments following the spread of the claims included clarifications by fact-checking organizations and legal commentators who reviewed available records. These reviews found no case in which Melania Trump appeared as a party asserting presidential power, nor any ruling by Judge Caprio or any other judge validating such an assertion. The absence of corroborating documentation underscores the importance of relying on verified sources when evaluating claims involving legal proceedings and public officials. The episode also highlights broader challenges in the contemporary information environment. High-profile names, partial legal terminology, and courtroom imagery can combine to create compelling narratives that circulate rapidly online. Without careful examination, these narratives may be mistaken for factual reporting. News organizations and legal institutions have emphasized the need for readers and viewers to consult primary sources, including court dockets and official statements, to distinguish between substantiated developments and speculative commentary. From an institutional perspective, the judiciary continues to address cases involving former presidents and their associates through established legal channels. These proceedings involve motions, hearings, and rulings that are publicly recorded and subject to appellate review. They do not confer new authorities on individuals outside the framework of elected or appointed office. Any attempt to portray routine judicial processes as acknowledgments of extra-legal power misrepresents how courts function. In conclusion, the claim that Melania Trump used presidential power in court, and that a judicial response by Judge Caprio validated or dramatically countered such an action, is not supported by factual evidence or official records. The available information indicates that the narrative arose from misinterpretation and amplification rather than from documented legal events. Courts remain guided by constitutional limits and statutory law, recognizing authority only where it is legally established. As developments involving prominent figures continue to attract attention, accurate reporting and careful contextualization remain essential to maintaining public understanding of the legal system.